Okay, let's look at this question now. 2016 paper 1 question 3, H2 math. The curve yx4 transform onto this curve here. So given this curve here, which is y equals fx, the turning point of y equals to x4 corresponds to this point AB. All right, now y equals x4, you know that it's actually a sort of like a quadratic curve, right? So this is like, if you put y and this is x, right? This will be y equals x4. Okay, very similar lah. You can just draw this out. Now, but the thing now is somehow transform to this over here. Then it has turning point on y equals x4 correspond to the point A, comma B. Okay, the curve fx also passes through the point 0c. So meaning to say this, after you transform, it will pass by 0c. Given the fx has this form, okay, and a, b, c are positive constant with c bigger than b, express k, l, and m in terms of a, b, and c. I think map it out is important here. So usually what I'll do is I'll try to understand this is y equals to 4. So somehow or rather, when I transform this graph, I will get y equal to fx, right? Then this guy here is given by k x minus l bracket 4 plus m. So I'll just try and write everything down here. So I know that this guy would have, this guy, we told that there's a turning point, right? Is a, comma b. Then it cuts through. Okay, this is what I'll get, 0, comma c. What else? We also told that a, comma b, comma c are positive, where c is bigger than b also. Okay, so that's what I'll get. So once this is given, but you know that this turning point here, okay, this turning point here, for this original graph, y equals to 4, is 0, 0, right? So essentially, if you think about it, you can actually show because the turning point is AB, then this is 0, 0. You know that this graph here is the corresponding point here, this A and B. If it corresponds to it, meaning to say this will be your A, and then this will be your B. From here, you can read. You can read. So for example, what I'm saying is in secondary school, you learn, right, when x minus 2 squared plus 4, the max point here is 2, 4. Am I right? It's 2, 4. This is a mean point. Okay, mean point 2, 4, right? Okay, so this is mean point 2. So similarly, for this guy here, if you just solely based on the equation, right, you can tell that this guy here, the mean point is L and M. Is it okay? It's just a secondary school equation that we get. The minimum value of y happens when this is 0, so it's L. Then the minimum value of y is actually M. Okay, so essentially this case here, what we can get is actually L is equals to A, and then B is equals to M. How do we know that actually you don't really need to know this 0, 0 but actually you know that from here to here is translation of L unit is a positive x direction, then scale by a factor of k, then translate by m units in the positive y direction. You can actually see the transformation from this curve to this curve here. So what we want is essentially, actually you don't really need to know, but you look at the y equals to this, right? You just based on this equation, you can tell that the minimum point is L, M. Okay, L, M. Then you're given that this turning point is AB, right? So L equals to A, B equals to M, A equals to L, B equals to M. So I skip a step here because this is a turning point. After transformation, AB, because this corresponds to this, so this turning point will, this A, B will also be a turning point. So if you're not sure what's going on, actually this is what's going on. To get this curve here, to this final curve here, what you're going on is this series of transformation. Replace x with x minus L. So meaning is positive L units in the positive x direction. Then after that, scale by k units parallel to y direction. Then after which, of course, you have m translate by m units in the positive y direction. This is it. So essentially, if this is the turning point, what I'm saying is, if this is a turning point, it will correspond to the turning point over here also. Okay, so that's the case lah. If you're not sure, you just draw it out. You quickly scribble something out. You'll be able to see that. So this case here, we know that A is equal to L, M is equal to B. I think finding K is okay. Finding K is just replacing 0C inside the equation. So when x equals to 0, y equals to C, there will be C equals to K, 0 minus L, 4 plus M. So if you want to find L, we want to find K. So K is equals to C minus M over L power 4. I think once you understand this one, so to sketch this curve, I already sketched it here. It's just a quadratic, it's similar to a quadratic curve. This is the graph here. Then we want to find coordinates, which is what they call it, crosses the axis of any turning point, right? We're just going to draw this out. In terms of A and B, so everything in terms of A and B. So to draw the reciprocal function, we all know the mean point will become max point. So there's a max point here. This will obviously be, this is super huge, right? Value, it come down, it tend to 0. This will be here. This is the max value, then this will come down as well, tend to 0. So the reciprocal function, it will give us sort of like a bell curve shape. Okay, so this max point will be A, comma 1 over B. Then this guy here will be 0, 1 over C. So firstly, I assume that K is bigger than 0 here, but we have to take note now is that since C is bigger, is C bigger than B? C bigger than B, right? So essentially C minus B, or this C minus B. C minus B is bigger than 0. This is C minus B over L4 will be bigger than 0. So this will tell us that K is bigger than 0. Why K bigger than 0 is important because K bigger than 0 will assure that it's a smiley face here. Okay, it's a smiley face here. So if K is less than 0, then it will be a sad face. Then we need to go and find. Because A, B, and C, they are all positive values. Right, so C is bigger than B. C is, yeah. So this is important. K bigger than 0 tells us it's a smiley face. So then you go, we get this is 0. So the points, just be mindful of the stuff that they tell us. How do we decide whether it's bigger than 0, smaller than 0? So this is A, 1 over B. And this is 0, comma 1 over C. Obviously, I have an asymptote y equals to 0. Okay. You take a reciprocal graph, if it swings at infinity here, the horizontal asymptote will come about. Okay, so yeah, but the question didn't ask for the asymptotes lah, so you don't write it out. It's fine as well. Okay, it's just that I just write it down. It's not part. I don't think it's part of the solution. Okay, so that's how you do this question here.